Old age, the more people around. The happier or the lonelier? One quiet afternoon, you sit by the window. The sun filters softly through the trees, casting gentle shadows on the floor. You hear the breeze rustle the leaves and, almost without meaning to, you ask yourself, do I still need to be surrounded by many people like I once did? It's a question that may seem trivial at first glance, but for many in their 70s or beyond, it touches something quietly profound. Because after walking through a life filled with obligations, achievements, celebrations, and losses, you start to realize, the older you get, the less you need and the more you cherish what remains. We were taught that to have many friends is to live a rich life. That to be loved is to be surrounded. That to be busy is to be relevant. But perhaps that was only true for a season, a chapter where external connections helped us grow. Now, in this later stage of life, you begin to ask, what does connection mean when you're no longer trying to prove your place in the world? When letting go is an act of peace. For most of your life, you likely worked to maintain relationships, phone calls you made out of obligation, coffee meetings you accepted despite exhaustion, group chats you stayed in just so no one would say you were distant. At the time, it made sense. You feared being forgotten. You wanted to be included. You thought that to be loved meant to be present, no matter the cost. But aging changes everything. Now, presence no longer feels like a requirement, it becomes a choice. And so does silence. Letting go of people who once mattered doesn't mean you don't care. It means you care enough to accept the truth. Some connections have served their purpose. Some relationships thrived in a different season of life. And keeping them now, out of habit or fear, only clutters your emotional space. Ms. Bitch, 71. Once feared being alone. She had a full calendar of meetups, phone calls, and text chains with friends she'd known for decades. But one day, too tired to attend a lunch gathering, she canceled and realized no one truly checked in. That moment of silence spoke volumes. She chose to pause, and slowly, stopped forcing herself to keep up. Now she enjoys slow mornings with warm tea, afternoons with music and old books, and a calm that no gathering had ever given her. The beauty of selective solitude. Old age isn't about isolation. It's about clarity. It's about finally being able to tell which relationships nourish you and which simply keep you occupied. The pressure to be social fades, replaced by a deeper need to feel at peace. Mr. Locke, 75, was once the coordinator of his social circle. He organized reunions, sent out birthday wishes, and called to check on everyone. Until, one day, he simply stopped. No one reached out. The silence that followed hurt, but also liberated. I stopped chasing noise, he said, and I discovered quiet joy in carving wood, in watering orchids, in watching the sky shift at dusk. Being alone, when it's your choice, is not loneliness, it's sovereignty. You no longer need to reply immediately. You no longer feel guilty for choosing your own space over social expectations. You don't owe explanations for why you prefer a walk alone to an invitation out. Moments that matter more than crowds. Old age teaches you that stillness is a form of strength. That a moment of deep, honest reflection can mean more than an evening of polite conversation. That your worth is not in the number of names in your contacts list, but in the quality of peace in your heart. Ms. Wah, 73, once mourned the loss of social excitement. Now, she treasures what she calls her little rituals, cooking alone while listening to soft songs, walking by the beach at dawn, watching birds drink from a clay bowl in her garden. I used to feel invisible, she said, but now I feel anchored. I'm not lost, I'm grounded. When you stop needing to be seen, heard, or remembered by others, something shifts. You become your own home. And then, magically, those who truly belong in your life start to reappear, gently, respectfully, and naturally. They do not demand attention. They simply share the silence, sit beside you in stillness, and understand without words. These are the friendships that survive not because you keep reaching out, but because you've become someone deeply worth staying close to. The value of your own company. Perhaps the most beautiful transformation of aging is this: you become your own companion. The friend who knows your fears, forgives your regrets, and still believes in your goodness. You cook for yourself not because no one else will, but because you deserve a meal made with love. You light a candle in the evening not for romance, but for warmth. You no longer rush through days, because now, every quiet hour feels like a gift. Life after 70 is not the slow fade to irrelevance. It is the bright return to essence. It is the discovery that your value does not decrease with fewer parties or fewer calls. It increases with every peaceful breath. Every moment you live in truth, free of performance. And if someone asks, "Are you lonely?" you may say, "Not at all. I am simply more with myself now. And I like her. I trust him. I respect the life I've built." Even if fewer people are watching. Less is more, in relationships too. You may find that fewer friends means fewer disappointments. That not every person you once called a friend will stay when you stop making the effort. That's okay. You are not meant to carry everyone with you forever. Let go, not with resentment, but with grace. What remains after letting go will be precious. Perhaps it's a grandchild who visits once a week, or a neighbor who brings fresh fruit from their garden, or just your own hands, steady with tea, turning the pages of a book that's lived on your shelf for 20 years. A life lived in full, quietly. So, how should one live in old age? Not loud, not lonely, but gently, not proving, not performing, but returning to simplicity, to stillness, to self. Your life does not shrink as your circle grows smaller. It expands inward, into the places you never had time to visit before. Into the quiet corners of your own spirit. Into the vast and peaceful space of being wholly, beautifully you. And if anyone asks how it feels to grow old, you might smile and say, "It feels like coming home."